Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. 1973-76 Carryover League. We got a great series today, believe it or not, between the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays in the American League East. I have to go right into this because it's been a wild series. I don't want to waste a lot of time. It opens up in Toronto, a team that doesn't exist in this timeline, but we gave them a pretty darn good team out of other teams' spare parts or misprotected players that should have been protected. In any event, Boston at Toronto in Canada. Sonny Siebert returns to the Red Sox versus Bert Hooton, the big offseason acquisition for the Blue Jays. In this one, you get a sac fly by Ed Kranepool in the first, 1-0. Boston gets this is an intriguing moment here. You get a couple of singles, a ground ball with the infield up. You get a single by Burleson, 2-run single, and it's 2-1, and it stays that way until the 9th, and then the magic starts to happen. Bottom of the 9th, Boston and Toronto have really shaky bullpens. In the bottom of the 9th, Darryl Chaney singles. After a ground out, there's a walk, there's a strikeout, and then an RBI single by Gary Sutherland ties it. We have the runner at second base rule in the extra inning. Boston has a runner at second, 2 more walks, but Yastrzemski pops out to end the 10th. Immediately in the bottom half with a runner at second base, the first hitter to step in, Cleon Jones, RBI double. Toronto gets the walk-off, 3-2. Oh, it just gets crazier, folks. I'm not kidding. A lot to do. Game number 2. Louis Tiant, Clyde Wright. This time, the Red Sox get some early action. Bill Sidakis, acquired in the offseason for that prodigious home run ability against lefties. Takes Clyde Wright out, a 2-run bomb. Then in the 5th, couple walks, couple singles, a Lomax to take 2 guys, turn into a double play. 2-run score, 4-0 Boston. You think they're going to right the ship. But in the bottom of the 5th, off of Tiant. Couple singles and a 2-out single by Coggins. It's 4-2. In the 7th inning, you have a walk, fielder's choice single, sac fly Jerry Hairston, 4-3. Then in the 8th inning, you have a single, a fielder's choice, ground ball, runner moves up, a 2-out RBI single, runner tries to score from first on a double and gets thrown out at the plate. It's 4-4. Another extra inning game. And another Elias Sosa moment as both Hooton and Clyde Wright went 9 innings. Sosa pitches into the 10th, walks the batter. But in the bottom of the 10th, they leave Tiant in there because he's a starter 9. I'll let my starter 9s pitch 10 innings because just, frankly, the Boston bullpen is terrifying the Red Sox. So when Louis Tiant or Bill Lee is pitching, they're going to wear those guys out. Well, that's exactly what happened. They wore Tiant out. Ghost runner at second base. You get a walk, a single. They're loaded. Then you get a walk-off single by Tim Foley. Yep. Back-to-back, bottom of the 10th inning, walk-off wins for the Blue Jays. But hold on, you're thinking. Toronto's not going to have the same fortunes in Fenway. Doyle Alexander, Bill Lee. Bottom of the 1st, Fred Lynn homer, 1-0. Bottom of the 2nd, walk, double, sac fly single, 3-0 Boston. These pesky Blue Jays fight back in the 3rd. A walk, double, 2-run single, Mike Lum, 3-2. In the fourth inning, they tie it. Walk, single, double play. 3-3. They take a lead. A 2-run triple by Ron Woods. 5-4 at this point. And they're thinking, oh my goodness. Could the Blue Jays go up 3-0 in the big bad Boston Red Sox? Ninth inning. Against the beleaguered bullpen of Roger Brent and Bobby Bolin, the Blue Jays tackle another. It's a walk, single, single, and a single. 6-4, bottom of the ninth. Boston's down to their last chance. A leadoff single. A ground out. Then with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, down by 2, the scheduled batter is Doug Griffin. Jim Rice. They wanted to get extra lefties into this lineup, so they put Rick Miller in. So Rice started the game on the bench. For a moment like this, comes off the bench, 2-run homer, Jim Rice in the bottom of the ninth to make it 6-6. Momentum swings. Toronto goes down meekly in the 10th. And it's the Red Sox now. Runner at second, out, and then a single by Petrocelli. RBI single, Rick Burleson. Again, a walk-off win by the home team in the bottom of the 10th inning. Remarkable. Let's keep going, folks. Woo! Game 4. It's Carl Morton versus Rick Wise in this one. The Blue Jays get a couple runs in the top of the third. Single, double, single, single. Red Sox get a Fred Lynn triple. Scores on a Petrocelli single, 2-1. It's 4-1 when in the 7th inning, after a triple, Mike Lum RBI single off of Rick Wise, who's chased. This is a 4-1 game going into the bottom of the ninth. Excuse me, it's a 3-1 game going to the bottom of the ninth. 3-1 game going to the bottom of the ninth. Carl Morton went 8 innings. He's pulled 8 innings, 9 hits, the 1 run, a walk, and 8 Ks. Why is he pulled after 8 innings? They want to get a lefty because in the 9th inning, it's Rick Miller, who has to bat because Yastrzemski got hurt. You have Burleson, Rice, you have Freddie Lynn. So they want the lefty to face Miller and Lynn. Tom Underwood is brought in. Boston has one more trick up their sleeve. They have Bill Sadakis as a pinch hitter, literally the last guy they had on the bench, because also Doug Griffin, the second baseman, got hurt. So he doesn't hit the home run. He gets a walk. He gets on base. And then Burleson singles, and here we go again. You got the tie runners on board. They pull Underwood because Rice is up, who kills lefty, so they go to the righty Bob Miller. Doesn't matter. Jim Rice gets the double off of the Bob Miller card, makes it a 3-2 game, and now Freddie Lynn's up, so they go back to a lefty Eddie Bain. Toronto went lefty for 2 batters, right-handed pitcher for 1 batter, and then back to another lefty, Eddie Bain, to face Fred Lynn. Fred Lynn, it doesn't matter. He gets a double against a lefty on his own card, scoring Burleson and Rice. 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. A walk, a single, double. Boston does all their damage in the bottom of the ninth off of the Toronto bullpen, who didn't get anybody out. Underwood, no outs, a hit, 2 runs, a walk. Bob Miller takes a loss, a hit, a run allowed, and then Eddie Bain give up a hit. They couldn't get anybody out. And Carl Morton is just shrugging in the dugout, watching a win get away. 4th consecutive walk-off win for the home team in the 9th or 10th inning. And if you're wondering, yeah, it's the Boston Red Sox, a team who was in the 1975 World Series, struggling mightily with you can call them the fictional Toronto Blue Jays, because they're not even existing yet. We just put a bunch of players together for them, who are actually pretty good, by the way. Let's go to Game 5. Will there be a break from the tradition between these two teams? You take away the team represented. This is one of the most classic series you're ever going to see, folks. I mean, this is the greatest 7-game series in history, with the potential at least. Oh my goodness. We're back to Bert Hooton and Louis Tiant. Tiant's pitching on 3 days rest. Fisk triples, scores on a Griffin single, 1-0 Boston. Interesting moment here. Darrell Chaney, the starting third baseman, gets hurt So backup third baseman Dave McKay is inserted. Fourth inning, you get a walk, a single scores a run. Then with 2 runners on, replacement third baseman Dave McKay has homer 1-17 on 3-6. It is gone. Where did that come from? Dave McKay with a lot of power with that particular card. And that makes it a 4-1 game. That's all right, folks. It'll come down to the 9th again. This time, Bert Hooton's left in there. Unlike they went to the bullpen pulling the number 4 starter Carl Morton, they wouldn't make the same mistake. Or would they? Because in the bottom of the 9th, Dwight Evans doubles off of Bert Hooton. After a couple of outs, Carlton Fisk, 2-run home run. Carlton Fisk in the bottom of the 9th, and it's 4-3. And the scheduled batter, again, is Doug Griffin. Your options are Bill Sadakis, Rick Miller, and Steve Dillard. If you introduce Sadakis, well, Toronto's not going to have a lefty throw to Sadakis. They introduce Rick Miller. If you decide you want to bring in a lefty to face Rick Miller, then immediately Sadakis comes in. So Hooton will take on Rick Miller. The only hitter other than Sadakis with power. Steve Dillard and Doug Griffin don't have it. Rick Miller rolls on the Bert Hooton card and rolls a pop out to third to end the game. It was a dramatic finish, really, but probably the least dramatic compared to the 4 games previous. So after this amazing series, we are back in Toronto for a Game 6. And let's take a quick peek at the standings. You're going to see something rather crazy here in the American League East. We thought the Orioles would be getting old. They haven't played a lot of baseball yet. They've only played 6 games and won 5 out of 6. They still might tumble. We think they're old, but they are playing outstanding. Yankees beat Boston 4-3. They're 7-7. These Blue Jays are now 8-5, up 3-2 in the series, and it is indeed the Red Sox who have faced a lot of bad luck. Long series. They lost 3 out of 4 to Kansas City. They lost 4-3 to the Yankees, and now they're facing a much tougher than they thought they would be Toronto Blue Jay team. Boy, the Red Sox really need to win the next couple games and win the series to go 8-10. Blue Jays could dig a deep hole for the Red Sox if they end the series in 6 and Boston goes 6-11. And that's where we're at today, folks. Woo! Can I go home now? Oh, no, I got to play a game. This is exhausting. This is Game 6. Where if you have a lead, if you're the road team with a lead, you have to be scared in this series. For the Red Sox, they don't have the advantage. They have Sonny Siebert, who pitched Game 1. He was 7-12 with a 4.06 ERA for the Rangers in 73. Did play for Boston late 60s. He's only a starter 5. Almost assuredly, Boston's going to need their bullpen to help out trying to even the series up. I never thought I'd have to say that they're so far seemingly in a hole against the Blue Jays, but they are. And the Blue Jays will send Clyde Wright. With the Angels in 73, Clyde was an 11-game winner, 3.68 ERA, and 257 innings. We are here in the Great White North, as you can tell by the background music. Sonny Siebert, Clyde Wright in game number 6 here in Toronto. We will get this set up right here, hit the F9, and get underway. For Boston, leading off is Dwight Evans. 2-5, double 1-2 is a base hit. Carl Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski's had the best season thus far for the Red Sox. 1-5 is a walk. Now you got to deal with Fisk, who crushes lefties. 43, first X, Ed Kranepool. 3-3 at first base. And there's a fielder's choice. Runners on the corners for the dangerous Bill Sadakis. 55, second C, that scores a run. Runner at second, 2 outs for Jim Rice. Short X. And Tim Foley's a 2-27. He makes the play. There's been some shaky defense in this series by both teams, really. but Foley makes that play. We've had Foley and Sutherland and Cheney make multiple errors in this series. 1-0. Leading off for Toronto is Rich Coggins. 1-7 rolls to third. Milt May, 35 is a walk. Jerry Hairston, 67 is a K. And Mike Lum, 38 is a strikeout. Top of 2, it's Freddie Lynn. 1-6 against a lefty. Double. That's the roll he had in the bottom of the ninth of Game 4. He rolled 1-6 against a lefty. Against a righty, it's a homer chance. But you have to remember, Freddie had 47 doubles in 1975. Leadoff runner at second for Rico Petrocelli. 5'10", center X. Ron Woods, promoted to be the full-time center fielder now, is a 3E9. But he makes a two-base error, and Boston has another run. Runner at second for Steve Dillard, who plays against lefties. 410, if you have power, home run. And Steve Dillard has power, it's gone. He had a home run in 167 at-bats. 34% of the time against lefties, he hit it. They gave him power. And here we go again. The road team has a nice lead, 4-0. Rick Burleson, 43, first X. Cranepool again, a 3E3 at first. And that's an error on the E3 first baseman. What is going on, folks? Dwight Evans, 5'11", first C. Runner at second for Yastrzemski, 67 walks. 2-1 for Fisk, 2-8. Double one, single dot dot. That'll score the runner. Runners on the corners, 1 out. For Sadakis, 1-5 is a walk. Bases loaded, playing back for Jim Rice. 57's a pop to first. They bat around. Batter number 10 with the bases loaded is Fred Lynn. 1-9. He comes through with single dot. It is 6-0. Bases are still loaded. And it's Petrocelli. 49. Homer 1-2. Fly ball to rest. And it is fly ball to rest. And that saves the Blue Jays today. We have been waiting a long time for the Red Sox to stretch their legs and start putting big old crooked numbers up in a baseball game. This is the biggest lead they've had since I can ever remember this year. 6-0. Bottom of the second, it's Ed Cranepool. 2-7 rolls to first. Ron Woods, 66. Single 1-7, cannot get it. Tim Foley, 111, pops to third. Top of the third, Steve Dillard, 56. Flies to center. Burleson, 43. First X. Cranepool, again, the 3E3 makes the play. A lot of first X's today. Dwight Evans, 111. Rolls to short. Bottom of the third, 6-0. Can Toronto make this a game? Gary Sutherland, 2-8. You don't want to wait to attempt a 6-run rally in the bottom of the ninth. You got to start chipping away earlier than that. Daryl Cheney, 57, is a K. Rich Coggins, 2-8, is going to be a base hit in the right field. 2 on, 1 out for Milt May. 37 flies to center, and with 2 outs, Jerry Hairston, 2-2, rolls to the pitcher. Sonny Siebert is taking care of business for his team, trying to force a Game 7. Top of the fourth, Yastrzemski. 32 rolls to third. Carlton Fisk, 5'10", center X. Ron Woods in center. Remember, he's the guy who gave up this 2-base error in that inning. Makes the catch here. He squeezes that ball. He squeezes that catch. Could be a 3-0 game. Sadakis, 1-6 is a K. In the fourth, bottom half, Mike Lum, 311, flies to center. Ed Cranepool, 6'10", third X. Petrocelli's good, though, at 2E17 at third base. And makes the play. Ron Woods, 112, left B plus injury. I think Toronto's had injuries in every game. Not good when you barely have enough players to scrape together a lineup, having to go to a bench here. So they'll move Coggins they'll just put Cleon Jones in center off the bench and leave everything else alone. As we go to the 5th. Jim Rice, 36. It's going to be a base hit. Fred Lynn, 42. Second X. Sutherland, 326. He's had a rocky series defensively. But he turns a double play here on the 326 GBA. Big break for the Blue Jays. And Petrocelli, 612. Second X again. Makes the play again. Maybe the Blue Jay defense has turned the corner. But it's 6-0. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
You know, even in every great series, there's usually one game that's a clunker. This could unfortunately be the one you see. Bottom of the 5th, 6-0. It's Tim Foley. 2-7, single 1-6, and he gets it. Sutherland. The Blue Jays like to hit and run and do fun stuff like that, but when you're down 6-0, you just can't. You're stuck. 38, Sutherland swings away and gets single ... That's good news. Runners in the corners for Darrell Cheney. 1-6, and that is a... Gotta double check the running here. Yes, that is a playing back 6-4-3 double play. It's a short A+, but with a big 6-0 lead, no reason to hold the slow runner at first. So it is a double play. A runner does score from third, and there's 2 outs. No RBI given. And it's Rich Coggins. 1-8 rolls to first. 6-1. Top of the 6th, it's Steve Dillard, 65. Pops first. Burleson 2-3. Grounds the third. And Dwight Evans, 56. Flies to center. You know, maybe the Boston Red Sox are simply destined to have to play best-of-7 series to the ultimate. I broadcasted that 7-gamer with the Yankees where the road team won all 7 games. Of course, the 1975 World Series went to the dramatic Game 7, and it looks like we're going to have a Game 7 here. You would think the Red Sox would start squashing teams and, you know, just drubbing teams with an explosive offense, but hasn't been that way. Milt May, 1-5, homer 1-6, is gone. Well, it is 6-2. They are a cab ride and a grand slam from tying this thing. Jerry Hairston, 55, off of Siebert. Homer 1-2, double the rest. It is a double. And believe it or not, Sonny Siebert has hit his point of weakness as a starter 5 with 2 men in the 5th and 2 men in the 6th. And that's a lot of real estate the Boston bullpen's going to have to cover. Oh boy, folks. May as well go lefty, righty from here. That is, just cross your fingers. That's all Boston can really do with these guys. They're going to go Chris Short in the 6th. Here he is, Chris Short, one of 2 lefties. Not very effective, frankly. 3-5 with a 5.13 ERA in 72 innings. There just isn't a lot of left-handed talent in this era in an expansion league. And so, yeah, you gotta. That's why I say Boston needs crooked runs. They gotta get into 10. Boston might need 9 or 10 to even the series up. So, Chris Short comes on in the 6th with Hairston at second, and the batter's Mike Lum. So you have lefty, lefty, righty, 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 lefty for left-handed pitcher Chris Short. Here's the pitch to Mike Lum. 1-9 is single 1-14, and he gets it. You got runners in the corners, and you got Ed Kranepool, who's reasonable against lefties. Much better against righties, of course. 2-5, and that is what Boston wanted, a 3-6-3 double play. Perfect timing. This is another 3-6-3 double play that scores the runner from third, just like it did there. So they're allowing that to happen because of the big lead. So it's 6-3. Bases are empty. There's 2 outs. No RBI given. And now it's Cleon Jones in the Ron Woods spot. 1-4 flies left. All right. 6-3. Clyde Wright. Rough start. Nice set of middle innings into the 7th. It's Yastrzemski. 411, first X. Cranepool been tested a lot today. The 3E3 makes the play. He hiccuped once right there, as did Ron Woods, and that's why we are here right now in this situation. Could be a tie game. Fisk, 38, it's going to be a base hit. Now, Sudakis, 59, left center B. And Jim Rice. 112 is a Lomax. Well, there's that. 6-3. Stretch time here in Toronto. We, of course, are digging into 21-12-1976, of course. We are the priests and all that wonderfulness. We're in side 2 here, the shorter songs. Side 1 is one long masterpiece, and then, of course, all the more catchier, hookier pop songs in side 2. Okay, bottom of the 7th. 6-3 game. Chris Short with a 3-run lead. We just we'll make sure that he doesn't blow the game. We'll just keep him in there and watch him. Puts a couple runners on board. We'll go to the next guy. It'll be Tim Foley leading off. 1-9's a base hit. C. Steeler holding in first, or he'll stay at first, not being held. Gary Sutherland. 55 off short, flies to left. Number 9 hitter Daryl Cheney can hit lefties reasonably well. You lost a player to an injury in this game. You have Carl Taylor and Dave McKay. Cheney's got power versus lefties. I think because of the injury, we're going to let Cheney bat. Normally I go to a pinch hitter, but we're early in this game. I want to keep him in here. 64 just misses a home run chance and strikes out. 6-5 is a homer 1-11, so he gets a strikeout. And back up top, the Coggins. And again, they're going to leave the lefty in there. Coggins isn't particularly good against lefties. It doesn't matter. Blue Jays are just going to roll with this against... And it's really an indictment on Short not being very good at all. So here's the pitch. 69, and Chris Short just walked the runner. And now you got the tie run is Milt May. Let's take a look at a hitter here. Milt May. Another one that got away. He got away twice. So Pittsburgh couldn't keep him around with Manny Sanguillen, so he ended up on the Astros. They didn't protect him. They had Johnny Edwards. Toronto swoops in. And they end up with Milt May. He'll have a nice little career. Good offense, left-handed hitting catcher. Also plays with the Giants. It's a nice year in the strike year of 81. Milt May, full-time power. This is not good. And now we're going to have a move. We're going to pull Short. We're going to go reverse platoon here, and you'll see why. We're going to go to Ray Lamb in the 7th. Ray Lamb, former Cleveland pitcher. 73 for the Indians. He was 3-3 with the ERA of 4.60, 86 innings. He's good at being a righty who gets lefties out. That's why he's on this team. Gives up walks to righties. But Toronto's kind of made their bed with left-handed bats here. They have Milt May, a switch hitter Hairston, Michael Lum, and Ed Cranepool. So for this minefield, Ray Lamb will be called upon to put the fire out. Ray Lamb to Milt May, and Milt May has less home run chances against righties. 2 on, 2 outs. Here's your pitch to Milt May. 2-8, and that's a grounder to first. Boston survives the 7th. 6 more outs to get for the beleaguered bullpen. Top of the 8th, it's Freddie Lynn. Boston can use some insurance here. 6-10, catcher's X. Milt May, 3E3. Makes the play. Petrocelli. 1-7 is single 1 of 16, and he gets it. Steve Dillard, who had that homer earlier because he had power. 1 home run, they gave him power. 2 base hit on the center fielder, Errol and Cranepool. What an inning that turned out to be. Dillard, 1-9. Now, let's take a look at the card. We didn't actually look at it before. So you see, this is the card that has power versus lefties with the 1 homer because of 34%. But you see, he actually hit some rather well. Always did. Has some I think he played for the Cubs a little bit. You could always find Dillard usually as a platoon player who just crushed lefties. Here he actually hits righties to a 275 batting average. Eventually he won't hit right-handed pitching very well at all. 1-9's a double to left field, and Petrocelli's slow, so he'll hold at third. Now you're looking at the end of Clyde Wright, who survived the early inning debacle without giving up a lot of hits, walks and errors. But you got Burleson Evans, Yaz Fisk. He's about to break. We're going to pull Wright after 7 1/3. Gets harder and harder to come back with these insurance run opportunities here. They're going to go Bob Miller. Bob Miller was a Met in 1974 with a 3.58 ERA in 78 innings. Miller will be asked to stop this rally by the Red Sox in the 8th. On the Red Sox bench, you got Cecil Cooper, Rick Miller, and Doug Griffin. For bats and for glove, you should have most of these guys should come in. Burleson will swing away. You don't want his defense to leave the game, so he will bat. Bob Miller to Rick Burleson. Second and third, one out. Infield comes up. 65 off the Bob Miller card is single one line out, and he lines out. And back up top to Dwight Evans. Also stays in the game for defense. 111 is a fly ball to right. No insurance for the Red Sox. Have to get Doug Griffin and Rick Miller in this game defensively, though. Doug Griffin will just come in for Dillard and play second. I like to get Rick Miller in here. Let's get him in there. We'll leave Jim Rice alone. We'll put a Miller in for Cooper, lefty-lefty. Actually, I should say Cooper's not. We'll put Miller in for Sadakis. Because most likely Sadakis won't bat against a left-handed pitcher anymore today. Bottom of the 8th, 6-3 game. Ray Lamb. Stay away from the walks to the right-handed hitters of Toronto if and when they come up. 6-3 game. Leading off in the bottom of the 8th, it's Jerry Hairston. 1-7, there's a base hit. And now you got Mike Lum. 68 off Lamb, pops to third. Ed Kranepool. 1-5, let's take a look at the Ed Kranepool card of 1975. You know, folks, on the right side, he looks very similar to Fred Lynn. Well, minus the doubles, of course, and the homers. But as far as the batting average goes, that's one of the top 323 batting averages in 1975 for a left-handed batter. Did it for the Mets. 3 first basemen. Lifetime Met, I believe. He's one of the few Mets to be a lifetime Met, as Cleon Jones and AG and some of the others were not. 1-5, homer, 1-2, double the rest. It's a 2-base hit, and here we go again. It's a 6-3 game. And what did I say about the righties? Ray Lamb and Cleon Jones coming up. If you were to walk Cleon Jones, then the Blue Jays have the lead run at the plate. You got righty, righty, and righty against a guy who walks a lot of righties. I think we've running out of gas again in this Red Sox bullpen. So we're going to pull Lamb. This is just... We're going to go to Bobby Bolin. There's no lefties on the Toronto bench. And Bolin is the best option as a righty who knocks the bat out of right-handed hitting batters. Bobby Bolin. For the Red Sox in 73, a 2.70 ERA in 53 innings. He was around in the late 60s. Missed some time in the early 70s and made a comeback in 73. Bolin in the 8th. And he'll face Cleon Jones. Let's look at Cleon before he swings as well. He may as well. Yeah, Cleon can still swing that bat, folks. 282, 13 dingers. He's 3 in the left, a 4 in center. Crushes lefties more than righties. But it's Cleon Clutch Jones. Helped the Mets get a World Series. Helped Toronto get into the playoffs in one of the years as a wild card. And he's your tie run. Second and third, one out. I know it's not the 9th inning. It doesn't seem right. It's only the 8th inning. Second and third, one out. Here's your pitch. to Cleon Jones. 67 off Bolin is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it comes down to Tim Foley, who doesn't have any homers at all on his card. Here's your pitch to Tim Foley. 59 off Bolin is another ground ball to second base. Bobby Bolin's the answer. They have 3 more outs to get if they want to win this thing. In the 9th, Yastrzemski, Fisk, and Miller. I know what you're thinking, go lefty here, but Fisk destroys lefties. Miller will pitch through to Fisk. He'll face Yastrzemski leading off in the 9th. And Yaz, 2-8 singles. He's had an incredible year. Now you got Fisk. 4-4 off Bob Miller's catcher's X. This should be Milt May, 3-3. Foul out. Runner does not advance. All right. Now you got Rick Miller in for Sudakis. You actually could go lefty here. The only guy left on the bench is Cecil Cooper. Then you have to deal with Jim Rice. They're going to do it. They're going to pull Miller. They're going to go Eddie Bain here in the 9th to face Rick Miller. Lefty. In a 6-3 game, here's your pitch to Rick Miller. 36 is a K, and with 2 outs, Jim Rice. And yeah, they're going to do it again. They're going to do the same logic. They're going to go to Sosa, their closer, to face Jim Rice. They tried a substitution like this to navigate Lynn and Rice in that game 4. It blew up on them, but now they're just trying to keep it close. Jim Rice with a runner on and 2 outs against a righty now. Sosa, here's the pitch. 1-8, it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the Jim Rice card. Oh, it's going to matter. Okay, well, let's look at the Jim Rice card. 1-8. Homer 1-19 double against lefties. You see he's got the homer on 8 and the homer on 9. A lot more hits on his card because he hit 309 in 75 with 22 homers. He actually regressed a little bit in 76 to like a 280 average, and then he just crushed it in 77, 8, 9. But here, look up at the board, folks. 1-8, homer 1-19. It hits the top of the wall for a double. What is going on? I'm running anyway. Yaz is going to run. Yaz can still fly. He's got 14. Yaz can run. He's a 14. 15, 16 against the Cleon Jones arm of 0 in center field. Here's the play at the plate. And he scores on a 5. So Yastrzemski's wheels saves the day, makes it a 7-3 game. Should have been an 8-3 game, but Boston will take it. And now Fred Lynn. 3-7's a walk. And Petrocelli. 58 is a strikeout. All right, buckle up, folks. We've seen 3-run 9th innings, 4-run 9th innings. Bolin will start the bottom of the 9th of a 7-3 game. It's Sutherland, and then you think they'll go to Roger Moret to face that cascades of lefties. So Gary Sutherland will lead off in the bottom of the 9th. 1-4 flies left. Number 9 hitter Darrell Cheney. 1-5 grounds to second. And finally the leadoff hitter Rich Coggins. 2-9, nope, base hit. He gets the single. He'll go down to second without a throw. He won't be held on. So he's at second with 2 outs. And do you go to Moret now? Just be a little more cautious. And the answer is yeah. They're going to do it. So they're going to go to Roger Moret here. So Bolin records inning and a third, I believe, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 2/3. Yep, they're asking Roger Moret to get the final out in this game. Roger Moret always had a nice winning percentage. He was 13-2 in 73 with a 3.17 ERA, 156 innings. Probably should be a starter. They have no room in the rotation for him. And you can tell they're hurting for left-handed relievers, so that's why he's in here. He's got May, a pinch hitter for Hairston, Lum, and Cranepool. with a runner at second and 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. So I'll be asked to get Milt May out. You saw Milt May's card earlier. Here's the pitch to Milt May. 1-4, just misses a 2-run homer. It is a fly ball to center field, and finally, a game where you can breathe a little bit. It's a 7-3. Boston took control of this early and never was in much doubt as they defeat the Blue Jays 7-3. The road team has won the last 2 games. The series is tied 3 games to piece. So after the break, I'll give you the results of Game 7. It'll be Doyle Alexander for the Blue Jays. And the Red Sox have Bill Lee. Bill Lee, Doyle Alexander in a Game 7. Should be a classic in what's turned out to be a pretty classic series. Stay tuned. All right, folks, here's the box score of the game just played. The Red Sox win 7-3. The big second inning with mistakes by Toronto helping out there. They held on. We had some left on base again by Toronto. They've left a lot of men on base. 3 runs, 11 hits. We've seen a game where they had 5 runs on 15 hits, 3 runs on 12 hits. That's a huge mistake for a team that's so challenged to, you got to take up all your opportunities and convert, and they just didn't. 7-3. Boston wins. Clyde Wright, 7 1/3, 9 hits, 6 runs. Again, only 3 were earned. Sonny Siebert completed 5 innings to collect the win. Chris Short was an inning and 2/3, 4 hits, 2/3 for Lamb, inning and a third for Berlin, and a third of an inning for Moret. So that's the game tying, the series tying game. What happens in Game 7? Well, this is interesting. Game 7, it's Bill Lee versus Doyle Alexander. Boston comes shooting out the gate again. Top of the first, Yastrzemski and Griffin walks. Jim Rice, 3-run homer. You could call Jim Rice the series MVP if you want. I mean, he had that game-tying homer in the bottom of the ninth in one of the games. RBI single by Yaz. It's 4-1. Then in the middle innings, you get an RBI ground out. You get a solo homer by Cecil Cooper. And the story is Bill Lee is asked to settle the ship after 4 relievers are used in Game 6. They're asking Bill Lee to throw a lot of pitches today. This is a 6-1 game in the 7th when after 2 outs, you get a walk, then a single by May, a single by Cleon Jones, an RBI single by Mike Lum. Their bullpen lights are off, and Bill Lee strikes out Ed Kranepool. 8th inning, he walks Ron Woods. He makes an error, but then he gets Carl Taylor to fly out. Gives up a leadoff hit in the 9th. Still no bullpen lights. They're asking Bill Lee to throw the complete game. He does. Boston wins Game 7, 6-2. And yes, that's back-to-back road wins. These are good omens for a team. And your Red Sox have just won a series for the first time all year. After losing to the Royals and Yankees, they just beat the Blue Jays 4-3. Let's take a peek at some stats. We've played a lot of baseball with the Red Sox this year. We know a lot about them. We know that it's just so hard to match up that bullpen late in games. Frankly, the bullpen of Boston is 3-2 with 3 saves. Ray Lamb is actually just giving up. Well, there are unearned runs in there, earned runs. Chris Short, for all the digging I give him, he's 8 1/3 innings, just 2 runs allowed. Moret, 7 1/3 innings, he's put 14 men on base. Ugh. They're hitting 242 with a 4.09 ERA. Boston, 242 is just not going to cut it. You need crooked numbers. You need 5, 6, 7 every day. And I was talking about Yastrzemski. He's 22 for 62. Hitting 355. Showing the young kids, Lynn and Rice, how it is done. Your Toronto Blue Jays, just way beyond expectations, as per norm with this team. They're 8-7. They're hitting 284 with a 351 ERA. They've scored 61 runs. They've given up 60. The 2 back-end relievers haven't given up an earned run yet. Matter of fact, it's Underwood and Miller gave up those runs in the collapse in Game 4. So they're responsible for that. Bain and Sosa are 3-0 with 2 saves. in 13 scoreless innings. So that's good for Toronto. No power. Nobody has 2 home runs on this team. A lot of plate appearances, a lot of hits for Milt May is 20 for 63 after going 4 for 5 in the game just played. So what it all means in the American League East is that Boston kind of saved their playoff chances. Yeah, they're back in the things. They're 8-10 now. Yankees 7-7, Blue Jays 8-7. Baltimore's got a lot more baseball to play. They've played a divisional and interleague series, so they have to go through the entire division yet. And anything can happen in best of sevens. Still early for the Orioles to know. We need more data. I mean, look, Baltimore's played 6 games. Boston's played 18. That's just how the schedule falls. It all evens up by the end, though. We'll see a lot of the Orioles in the second half before the All-Star break. Not too much of the Red Sox. So that's it today, folks. Break up the Boston Red Sox. Yet another 7-game series. Finally, they come out on top. They win 4 games to 3. We'll see you next time.